Hello and welcome back to the Birdcage. I am Jack Kenna, joined alongside Alex King to recap Creighton and Alabama. The Blue Jays fell. Hold on, I have to look at the score. 83-75 in Tuscaloosa. Alex, what are your initial thoughts about the game?
Well, the initial thoughts, just straight up, I think Alabama's just a better team. They're really good, and I think they'll be a Final Four contender. Second thought, we're really gonna miss Pop Isaacs, considering he's very good at creating his own shot. We don't really have somebody that does that right now. But honestly, I was very happy with the outcome to this game. The Jays got down big, but they really battled the whole time. I mean, the spread to this game was, I think, 12 and a half, and we ended up losing by 8. So, I mean, I was happy with that.
Yeah, I agree. In my preview, I think I said something like a score of like 94 to 87. So I a little more scoring, but kind
Mhm.
of around the same amount of points. I didn't think Creighton would lose by 12. I thought this was going to be a game that was going to be high scoring, and I mean Nate Oates teams in the past have been kind of known to be poor defensively, and so I was thinking Creighton could get a few buckets on them, but I did not expect a Creighton win. I know going into Alabama is a tough place to play anyways, and then we're shorthanded as we will be the rest of the year. So I did not think we would win that game. In my preview, I made a comment saying if Creighton wants to compete in this game, they're going to have to limit Mark Sears from scoring the basketball because he's kind of struggled this year scoring the basketball. He did not struggle.
I did
He
not.
did
He
not
did
struggle on Saturday.
not.
He had 27 points and shot a very efficient 8 of 15, 4 from 7 for deep. He's really good. He's a first team All American kind of player if he can get going. We really couldn't match up with him. We tried, but we couldn't get it done. What were your thoughts about Alabama?
Yeah, I mean they look amazing. They're super athletic. They're very big. They're deep. Like within the first, I think, 10 minutes, they'd played 10 guys. Like, and they had their entire team. Like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they had 10 guys that played over 4 minutes. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. They're one of the deepest teams in the country. They're one of the better teams in the country. There's a reason why
Yeah.
they are preseason number two.
I forgot, who did they lose to?
They lost to Purdue, but that was at Purdue.
Yeah.
And
And
is
they
that their
beat
only loss of the year?
yeah,
No.
they
They have
beat
another
Creighton.
loss. I just don't know who that's against.
They lost,
Maybe
I think it was to Gonz
it
they
was in
lost to,
Oregon, Players
no.
Era.
Oh, yes, 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 Oregon. Yeah. I mean, they beat North Carolina at North Carolina. They're a really good team.
They're a really good team, and there's a reason why they're gonna be participating in the NCAA tournament and probably a really high seed. Alabama is one of the best teams in the country, and I feel like Creighton did a very good job on Saturday.
Hmm.
I came out of that game a little more a little more optimistic about the rest of the year because I think this team does have a lot of fight. Even though I feel like I feel bad for Ashworth and Culk because they kind of came back, and this was the year that everything was supposed to fall into place with Fedor and Pop and Neal, and it hasn't gone our way. Kind of feel
Hmm.
bad for them, but I do think this team has some fight in them.
Yeah, specifically I think Jason Green's a guy that he's not necessarily a scorer, but he has a lot of fight, and I think that's what this team really portrays. Is
Hmm.
there's maybe not a lot of I mean, there's skill, but there's no guard depth, and but everybody seems to have pretty good effort, and I don't know. I saw on Twitter everybody was like, I feel pretty weird about this loss because it's like everybody felt pretty good about it. Like it was a loss, but we everybody came out feeling pretty positive.
Because I feel like this could have ended poorly. Creighton was down 17 in I am pretty sure the first half. Yeah, with 9 minutes to go in the first half, Creighton was down 17,
No.
and they lost by 8. They came all the way back, had chances. They got open looks, just didn't knock them down. And their defense kind of inspired me. They held Alabama, a 3 point centric, heavy 3 point shooting team, to 20% from the field, or 20% from three. It was 42% from the field, but I feel like we did pretty good guarding the three
Yeah,
point.
the only thing that killed us was Mark Sears. I mean, we held Grant Nelson to 4 points, which going into the game I thought he was going to go off because of our four position, but we actually really held him down. but it's just Mark Sears murdered us.
Mark Sears did murder us, and Mark Sears is that kind of player. He can have games like that. What would you rate Creighton's offense in the Alabama game? Because I personally felt like our offense was a little stagnant at times and we didn't really have an identity. But I want to get someone else's opinion on kind of how you think our offense sort of looked.
It just feels like a lot of the time we don't really run sets. Like we're kind of just passing the ball about and dribbling. And then once there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock, we have to force something up. When we really get into our offense, like I think out of timeouts, we're really good. But then when we're not running a set or a specific play, it just looks really gross and like there's not a plan.
I feel like if Ashworth doesn't have the ball, our offense doesn't really go anywhere.
Hmm.
And if Ashworth does have the ball, but Kolkbrenner's not in the game, it's tough.
Yeah, when we can get a pick and roll with Kalkbrenner, I mean, I think he had 2 or 3 lobs that are just wide open. He's just so tall. And also Kalkbrenner, I don't know if you remember this exact play, but he had the ball at the top of the key and did like a jab step, like dribble, and it was the most athletic thing I'd ever seen him do, and I was really confused.
I do not remember this play.
You know, it
If
was
you can
like
find it on Twitter, I would love for you to send it
I,
to
I
me.
was sitting with all my friends at the bar, and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know he was capable of doing
You
that,
didn't
but
know Kolkbrenner could do a jab step?
no, and then he like dribble move, layup, falling. It was
Oh, that's electric.
Yeah, it was you would remember if you saw
If I remembered the game, I probably would have remembered.
it.
In hindsight, Ashworth played good. He got to 20 points. It was a weird 20 because 8 of them came from the free throw line. 9 assists, though. Jackson McAndrews was the real star because he
Yeah,
stepped up.
I'm really
16
excited to see
points,
how he
16
develops.
points, 5 from 8 from the field. I think he's going to be a hell of a player in a Creighton jersey.
Yeah, I guess in this day and age, you have to be worried about transfers and everything, but if he stays, I'm very excited for the future with him because he's a sniper. He's the only reason we were close at the end. He knocked down like 3 threes in the last 5 minutes, I think.
Hmm. He's really good at basketball. The transfer portal could be interesting. However, I feel like Creighton does a pretty good job with the whole family thing, the whole like
Yeah,
building a family.
except like
And you
Nemhard and
and you've seen
Kalu.
this, yeah.
They don't know
Nemhard,
shut
Nemhard
up.
still makes me a little upset.
Every time I watch Gonzaga play, I get really sad.
I get pissed. I don't even get sad. I kind of pray for their downfall.
Yeah, but I just he was my favorite. But I don't know how we got back on this topic, but it was sad that he left.
Yeah. I think they do a pretty good job with the whole family thing. Now, if you don't buy into it, you don't buy into it. Arthur Kaluma didn't buy into it. And I think that's because Creighton fans were berating him on Twitter every single
Yeah,
game.
a lot of people
I
didn't.
think that does actually play a part to it. I can only imagine if I was a starter on a Division 1 basketball team and I checked Twitter and social media after every game and it's just how much I suck. I
Well,
probably wouldn't want to play for that school anymore.
I remember specifically being at the Marquette game that year and he got booed. So I mean if I got booed at a college game, I would also transfer. So
If I got booed at a home game,
yeah. And
how bad did he play to get booed?
it was bad. It was just classic like taking turnovers and just terrible shit. Yeah, it was
Arthur
bad.
Kaluma was the definition of let him shoot the three. If he makes it, we'll send him a postcard.
Yeah. And then every once in a while he'd have a game where he made like five.
And
But
then yeah, and then you'd have a game where he just went completely ballistic. And then you're like, hey, maybe he can play a little bit.
in the next game he goes 0 for 7.
Literally. That's the perfect way to describe Arthur Kaluma. At least his Creighton tenure. But Stephen Ashworth played pretty good. Ryan Kolkbrenner's Ryan Kolkbrenner. He
Yeah,
took
he's
two
back.
threes. Interesting.
Yeah, it was his threes were open, but I just don't know if he should be shooting those.
I love the idea of him being able to knock down some perimeter jump shots
And for
that
some
would
reason he
just
can't make his
base
free throws
everything
anymore.
out, but
I don't know why he
he,
can't make free throws.
he can't make free throws anymore. That's one of them. Another thing that I noticed is Jemiah Neal decided that he wanted to shoot threes again today.
Yeah.
I say today like it's not Tuesday when we're recording this. Finals week has really kind of caught up to us. But he shot a lot of threes, which is a very interesting decision.
Which we don't really like.
No. Mason Miller started this game again. We can kind of talk about that a little more
I
here.
don't get why I don't get what the game plan is there. I
Neither
mean,
do I.
why do you think he started?
Neither do I. He only played 17 minutes. Jason Green was the real player today. today. I say today again. Who's the real player on Saturday who actually got minutes at that position? I'm gonna be honest, I can't tell you
Yeah, I
because
guess the shooting threat, but he can't shoot this year for some reason.
I just feel like it's kind of hard when you break your leg and you're not really able to put pressure on it. Because even though you want to like think like lower body injury, like he could still sort of shoot,
Mm.
you can't really, right? Like, what do you think? Like, just like it's kind
I
of
think
weird, like his balance thing, and like he
the
probably
confidence
didn't.
is definitely off, but I think it's hard not to start him after he started every game last year, and his his uncle's a coach, I think. I think
Yeah.
it's just hard to, I don't know, but he needs to take a step back.
I think that we will see a lineup with Jason Green in the starting lineup tomorrow. We'll preview Georgetown a little bit later here, but I'm surprised. I think Jason Green's finally starting to kind of come into his own. Obviously, we've seen games where with Isaac Trout starting, he's still a question mark because he's been a little. Happy birthday, Isaac Trout, by the way. We're filming this on December 17th. But he's been a little streaky this year, and he's a very capable shooter. I just want to see him. I'm a big Trout guy. I want to see him go in.
Yeah. Well, against UNLV, he played great, and then he came into this game and didn't really look ready. He airballed a wide open three, but I'm still have confidence in him, and I think he'll still be reliable.
He's a very capable player. I was talking to a few family members the other day. There will not be a game this year where Isaac Trout does not get in.
Hmm.
Last year, Isaac Trout had a few DNPs towards Big East play. That's not going to be the case this year. I hope it just takes him a few of those games to kind of find his footing and get right. Because really, playing at Alabama is a tough place to play. I would
Hmm.
be a little nervous too, but we do need shooters on the floor, and that's what he is. So he's got to be able to come in and come in hot because we desperately need some scoring on this team.
You know, I was just looking at the stats, and they had six threes, and four of them came from Mark Sears, and literally everybody else like missed so many. So like we really defended the 3-point line well.
And we had Ashworth on Sears, correct?
I think, yeah. We would have had Pop on him, but Pop is not available.
Yeah, which still hurts me. I still don't
Yeah.
want to believe that he will not be a Blue Jay the rest of the year. I've not heard anything about him getting a medical red shirt. I'm figuring he will, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you can only play. How many games did he play? Eight?
Yeah.
Like eight, you only play 8 games, and he didn't even play that because he sat the first game. So
Yeah.
seven or 8 games he played, and then kind of had to call it quits for the season. Surely he gets a medical red shirt. But I'm impressed with the way we fought out of Alabama. I don't think Alabama's going to shoot 20% from three every night.
No, that was definitely a difference
I
in the game.
don't think Alabama played their best, and they beat us pretty handily. There was not really a part in that game where I thought Creighton could come back until kind of like the 6 minute mark when it was like a 4 or 5 point game,
Mm.
and we just couldn't get a stop down the stretch. So,
Yeah.
do you have any final thoughts about Alabama?
No, I mean, as far as this was our last non-conference game, the non-conference was maybe a little disappointing. Obviously, we don't like the loss to Nebraska, Texas A&M, but I mean, we dealt with a lot of adversity, and I think the win over Kansas really boosts this team into Big East play. So I don't know, it's kind of mixed feelings here, but I'm ready for some Big East basketball.
I'm excited for the Big East because I really genuinely think Creighton can compete. I think they can compete every year. But what I'm trying to say is like I think there's going to be a lot of the bottom of the Big East is a little stinky, I think. So
Seems like
this
it.
year, especially even if Creighton's not having their quote unquote best year, I think Creighton can go on the road and get a lot of wins. Obviously, if we can split with Marquette and UConn, I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't think any of those teams are better than us. I think Marquette might be better than us. I don't think UConn's better than us.
I don't know. I watched UConn play Gonzaga, and they looked really good. So
Maybe I'll have to walk back on that in a few weeks when UConn is goes undefeated through 7 Big East games.
I think UConn might be back, unfortunately. And Dan
I,
Hurley's a good coach. How much I hate him.
I hate Dan Hurley too. I don't necessarily think they're that much better than us. I see a world where we can beat them at home.
It's just our guard play. We don't have no guards. I'm
Man,
probably
and
gonna
I'm always and I just forgot we don't have Pop.
yeah.
I was just gonna talk about how Pop Isaacs can like really impact those games, and we don't have him. Maybe we okay. If we can split with Marquette and UConn, I'm very confident that we'll
Okay.
be all right throughout the Big
Well, we're
East.
gonna lose one to Providence probably, and we'll lose one to like freaking
See, we
Butler.
can't lose the game to Prov. We can't lose at Providence.
But we always
That team is
lose.
bad.
Yeah,
That
but we
Providence team is
lose.
bad.
I have no faith.
The Providence game, you always kind of mark up an L. You'll always mark up a road loss to either Butler or Xavier because that game's going to be played 11 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's like,
Maybe
ah,
a Seton Hall like
Seton
triple.
Hall away.
Last year, I think that was like a quintuple overtime game,
The
and I
other
went
game
to
was
the gym.
insane.
I remember I took pre-workout to go to the gym, and then I was just. It took like another 2 hours, so I was just hopping off the walls while watching Creighton basketball.
Yeah, I was freaking out too. You're all right. That means I was at the gym and I was
Yeah,
watching that game on my phone screaming in the gym. In
yeah,
the yeah, in the dumbbell area. People I was getting some weird ass looks.
yeah. I bet.
But overall, Creighton, I think, had a pretty all right preseason. You don't like the Nebraska loss, but it's so fluky. Those rivalry games are so fluky. And then I'd say Texas A&M and or San Diego State, you kind of
Both
just like,
both
eh.
those teams are pretty good. Texas A&M just came off a win against Purdue, so
You're just sitting there and you're like, I think both of those teams are going to be good towards the end of the year, and we weren't necessarily healthy. So I'm not really going to hang my hat on the Texas A&M or San Diego State game. I'm hoping Nebraska's good enough to where none of our losses are bad losses in the non-con. I don't
yeah.
know if Nebraska will be able to. I think Nebraska will win damn near every home Big East or
For some
Big
reason,
Ten game.
They can't lose at home. They just
No,
beat Indiana.
they won't lose at the vault. They'll lose on the road probably every game.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to lose a game at the vault. Those like Nebraska basketball is as much as I kind of hate to say it, their fan base is kind of electric. They have a lot of passionate fans, and
Just
that's
Nebraska sports in general. Everybody's crazy.
it's very good for the sport when Nebraska's good. Even college basketball, college football, you just love to see it. But Creighton will open up Big East play, traveling to Washington D.C. to take on Georgetown. This Georgetown team is 8-2 on the season. They average around 77 points per game. Alex, have you gotten the opportunity to watch any Georgetown basketball?
Unfortunately, I haven't had the pleasure. Um, looking at their schedule, nothing really surprises me. I mean, they lost to Notre Dame by 21, who I don't think is a very good team. They did just come off a win against Syracuse, but I mean, it's hard to. It was at Syracuse, but it's hard to tell how good the Orange actually are. So
Hmm.
I, they have a lot of wins over bad teams, but
Yeah, I actually do like some of their players. Like they have a Jaden Epps or Eeps. I think
about
it's Epps.
27.
He's talented. He's a really good guard. And that's just what it is. Like Ashworth's gonna have his hands full. I'm assuming Ashworth will be on him. Micah
Yeah, you know what's
Peavy is another one of their players who I think is pretty good. And then they have Malik Mack, who is a sophomore, who
uh,
transferred over from Harvard. So I genuinely think this Georgetown team has a few guys. I don't think they're going to be very good, but I
yeah.
think they're going to be better than last year. And on the road in DC, I'm praying we come out ready to go.
You know what stinks extra about the Pop thing is Ashworth has never really been a good defender, and now he has to guard all the best guards, which is just not going to work. So I think I'd expect a lot of guards to go off against us, which is kind of sad.
You know me, I'm the big advocate for one player can't beat us most years. This year, I genuinely do think one player can beat us.
If a team has a good guard, I mean,
If a
we
team
might
has a
just
good guard, they can open up everything.
hmm
And that's just what it is. And I'm hoping we can keep Jaden Epps. How do you say it?
I'd assume Epps.
Epps?
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to go then. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm hoping that we can kind of keep him in check. I am praying this is a Ryan Kolkbrenner domination game.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know if one of these dudes can guard him. I'm looking
No.
at their roster. They have a 7 foot freshman. They have uh, another sophomore who's 6'11". They have another freshman who's 6'10". But that's all of their bigs.
Yeah, two
I'm a,
freshmen and a sophomore.
and I'm gonna check real quick which one of them are getting the minutes. Because if it's any of the freshmen who are having to play significant time, I genuinely think Ryan Kolkbrenner could have a pretty good game.
Yeah, you
Pretty
see,
good.
I would think that too. But then Nebraska had like 4, 6, 9, and 10 guys, and then they locked him down. So it's kind
Yeah.
of to if somebody comes up with a right game plan, uh, that might be bad.
Yeah. And again, maybe they'll do what Nebraska did and just
This
be
is a
like, hey,
nice.
we have a lot of centers who aren't necessarily great. So let's go in there and just hack Kolkbrenner whenever he gets it in and play really physical with him and try to deny him the ball and then try to get the win that way. Ed
I
Cooley's
keep,
coaching Georgetown. I keep forgetting that.
yeah, I was just about to say that. I keep forgetting Ed Cool is their coach now.
So Ed Cooley has our number, sadly.
I
At
wonder if he
least he did
filled
when he
in.
was at Providence.
I wonder if he filled in his hair yet, or if he's still rocking the patchiness.
He's still rocking the patchiness. If he went bald, he would be horrifically scary.
Oh yeah,
But
that ball.
I don't think he ever will. I think he has too much pride.
Yeah, his hair's got aura.
Yeah. But looking at this team, Jaden Epps, Micah Peavy, Malik Mack, Thomas Sorber, don't necessarily recognize that name.
Thomas Sorber.
I'm gonna go check out his picture
He's
on
their
the
leader in rebounds.
I'm gonna check out the picture and then I'll tell you from there if I think he's gonna be good.
He's their
So
leader in
that's
points.
their freshman. That's their freshman center.
Leader in points and rebounds.
Yeah, he's a bucket apparently. I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
he
I don't
shoots
know
some.
necessarily what kind of centers he's went up against this year, but he'll have a test. Kalkbrenner defensively will limit him quite a bit, I think. We saw what he did against Dickinson. Even on Saturday, I thought Kalkbrenner defensively did his best defensively. I did the best he could defensively. I mean, Alabama just scored a lot, but I don't know. What are your predictions for tomorrow night's game against Georgetown?
If we lose this game, I might do unspeakable things. I can't imagine. I mean, a loss to Georgetown for the first Big East game would be very bad for the rest of the year. I predict we'll win. I think it might be a little ugly, but I'd imagine a nice 8 to 10 point win.
So give me a little score prediction then. What do you think?
Let's 81 to 74.
Okay. I'm going to go 76-62 Creighton. I agree. I think it's very close for the entire first half. Like we maybe have a 4 point lead going into the break, and then we kind of get a little separation down the stretch.
Yeah.
I really think this is going to be a game that kind of defines our season. I want to come out strong. An away. When's the last time we had an away Big East game to start the year?
I don't know. I don't.
I
Last year
can't
we played
remember
Villanova.
one.
Last year we played Villanova at home and lost in overtime, and that's when he broke the wall. So that was pretty exciting.
Oh my
But
God, I forgot that that was during break. Yeah, it was. I did break that wall pretty bad.
yeah, that was pretty silly.
Hopefully
But
we don't have something like that because yeah,
you're
that
gonna be home for this game, right?
yeah, well,
The walls better look out.
the walls are not safe whenever the Blue Jays are playing basketball. Alrighty. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chit chat about CU basketball.
Of course.
Are you going to be watching the game?
Of
I
course. I have
figure
nothing better to do.
you have finals on Thursday.
We got a final Thursday and then I'm out of here. But I would of course make time for my Jays.
Yeah. You'll have to make time for a podcast episode too. Where are you going to be?
Omaha, I'll leave Omaha Friday, Saturday, and then I come back Sunday, I think.
Okay. Because the Jays play on Saturday, so I might have to be doing a recap with Dewey or something.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I don't know if I'll be able to get you on.
That's all right. I'll make a comeback strong back
But
in the GI.
surely you will. Alrighty, Alex. I appreciate you taking the time to come chit chat with me. The Creighton Blue Jays take on Georgetown tomorrow at 5:30 because we're playing in DC, so we're an hour ahead. Looking to get right after falling to Alabama this weekend. That's me, Jack Kenna, joined alongside Alex King, breaking down Creighton's loss and then previewing their win, hopefully tomorrow. I just jinxed us.
Yeah, what the hell, Jack?
Yeah, if we lose, we'll come back to that. Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll see you later.